Hi, everybody. Dr. Eric Snow. Today, we're going to talk about and ask the question, is sugar toxic? The answer to the question is yes. It definitely depends on the dose, but we're going to learn about today is it even depends on the type of sugar. A medical doctor named Robert Lustig from the University of California in San Francisco, he started to see that fructose is the culprit behind and worsening this epidemic of diabetes, obesity, and many different metabolic disorders. And the reason why is fructose is not metabolized like glucose and other sugars are. Almost all of it goes to the liver, and the liver processes it not much differently than it processes alcohols or other toxins. So this creates quite a burden on the liver and on the system to process the sugar. So what is fructose? Fructose is a simple sugar. It's going to be found in fruit. All fruits can be found in honey, and it is half of what makes up what we call sucrose or table sugar. Now, table sugar, when it is digested, it goes into the gut, and the gut breaks this table sugar down into fructose and into glucose. Glucose can be readily used by almost all the cells in the body, but fructose has to go to the liver. And fructose, this is where it starts to cause the problems. It puts stress on the liver because it's harder to break down. But the stress comes from the fact that Americans are consuming so much fructose. We're talking about half a cup of sugar a day is a normal intake of this. So you can see how dose makes the poison, especially when we're talking about fructose and talking about sugar. Now, what's going on when this fructose goes to the liver, depending on how much we get, which we know most Americans are getting way too much, the liver has to work hard again, real hard, like it does with alcohol and toxins, to process this. So it starts to deplete the liver cells of ATP. And when we consume more, it depletes more of this ATP, and it causes a rise in something called uric acid. And this starts to create an insulin resistance in the liver, leading to fatty liver. And then with the rise in uric acid, leading to gout. And so over time, we're talking about stressing the liver out the same way that somebody has a problem with alcohol, that we might even see people on different types of hepatotoxic drugs. So this is all from table sugar and consuming too much just fructose. And what we see happening in the food industry is, in the food industry, they have to really be concerned about cost so that they can, make a profit, which is a good thing. But it's not a bad thing when it is a bad thing when it comes to our health, because they're starting to use high fructose corn syrup. They've actually been using it for years because it's sweeter than table sugar. You don't have to use as much, and it's less expensive. So we're getting this really concentrated form of fructose, and it's causing metabolic disorders, leading people to diabetes, weight loss resistance, fatty liver, and gout. And this also leads to chronic inflammation in the body, an increase of triglycerides, and insulin resistance. And it's because the fructose, again, is metabolized not much differently than alcohol, not much differently than other toxins that the body has to deal with. And so that causes the liver stress, causes the uric acid again to go up, leading into insulin resistance in the liver, but then also insulin resistance in the muscle cells. And so this gets connected back to the main things that Americans are facing today. And so I asked the question to many of our patients, hey, do we have a obesity problem? Do we have a heart disease problem? Do we have an ADD problem? Do we have a diabetes problem? Or do we have a food problem? And does a lot of what we are dealing with today, does it not go back to the foods that we're eating? And so I'm here to tell you today, the main problem is we have a sugar problem, and it's a food problem. So the question is, how can we avoid fructose? And the best answer to that is we have to start to educate ourselves, and we have to start to read food labels. We can use different sweeteners that don't have any of this in there. The common ones are monk fruit, stevia, xylitol. These can be good options. There's even things like brown rice syrup that have less fructose in it. Now, that still has sugar in it, and it's not your best option, but it definitely has less fructose and will be less stressful on your liver. So we need to learn to read labels. We need to see how much fructose is in there. You know, what all is being sweetened with high fructose corn syrup. And you'd be surprised, from ketchup to spaghetti sauces, different beverages and different foods. So let's read the labels. And that helps us to shop differently and make better choices. And I believe, hey, if you got to spend an extra dollar or two here for something, your body is so worth it. We spend so much money on things that don't even last, from cars and houses and just different material items. We can spend a few extra dollars on our body. And then we want to be conscious. Hey, where's the fructose coming from? Where's the sugar coming from? And let's consciously lower that. Let's switch from these high fructose corn syrup products. Let's watch out how much fruit that we're getting. Let's watch how much table sugar that we're getting, so we can start to consciously make an effort to decrease this. And a sugar detox is excellent for this. A sugar detox helps to heal the brain, helps to heal the liver, helps to reverse this metabolic syndrome. Hey, I hope you enjoyed this video, hearing another perspective on sugar. There's many things to talk about to really get a hold of this. I love talking about sugar because it is the culprit behind so many different problems, and really sets people up for a lot of the chronic diseases we have today. Problems even with our young teenagers and young children comes back to the diet, comes back to the overconsumption of fructose and sugar. So let's educate ourselves on it. Let's really get this down. Let's own this as a foundational principle, not just for our health, but for our family's health. Hey, when we get a hold of this knowledge, we can take that step forward, and we can start to experience a transformation in our health. And that's what I want for my family. That's what I want for you, is a health transformation. This body was designed to live well. So let's learn how this body works. Let's work with the body so that we can walk free of sickness and disease, and we can have the health that we all deserve. Hey, I want you to subscribe to this channel, especially if you like the videos. There's going to be more videos. And if you're interested, this is the place to come to learn about your health, and so you can have a health transformation.